Hello and welcome, guys, to another episode of OnReview Cast. I'm your host here, Ash, and this is the show where we break down, TV shows, movies, and all things media. Welcome to OnReview Cast, guys. And today we're taking a look at House of the Dragon, Season 2, Episode 4 on review. Before we get started, guys, just to let you know, this episode is brought to you by Anomaly Beats by Ash. Check out Anomaly Beats by Ash on YouTube and everywhere you guys do your streaming things. While you get your streaming goodies and music from, you guys go ahead and check out some of my music there. It's Ash and Ashley Anomaly, and Beats by Ash. Well, Ashley Anomaly has a single out. It's called Boom. Go ahead and check that out too. And we have another single coming out called Stars. That's coming out on August 4th, guys. Make sure to check that out as well. But yeah, brought to you by Ashley Anomaly and Anomaly Beats, guys. But on with the show. Let's get into it. House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 4. Like I said before, and just look at every other episode, guys. We're going to get this episode started by taking a look at our episode breakdown, courtesy of Fandom. And this episode is called The Red Dragon and the Gold. The Red Dragon and the Gold. The Red Dragon and the Gold is the 4th episode of the 2nd season of the House of the Dragon. It is the 14th episode of the series overall, and it premiered on July 7, 2024 on HBO and HBO Max. It was written by Ryan Condal and directed by Alan Taylor. Ryan Condal and Alan Taylor. Well, some good writers. It's not familiar from the show, on review. Synopsis. In Rhaenyra's absence, and with no word from Daemon at Harrenhal, Rhaenyra tries to keep the peace on the Black Council as Cole mounts a campaign into the Crownlands. In King's Landing, Aemon continues to undermine Aegon's fragile hold on authority, and that he does. Yeah, let's just jump right into this one. So, this episode kind of starts off with Aemon. Oh my God. This episode kind of starts off with Daemon, Aemon, Aegon. Oof, so many names, right? With Daemon entering it's a dream sequence, obviously. He's entering the hall where the Iron Throne is, and he sees young Rhaenyra, the Rhaenyra we were familiar with in season 1. Child Rhaenyra, and she's having a conversation with her, and he can't quite make out what she's saying at first, and then he's able to decipher it how close he gets, and they start to talk about how his feeling towards being put ahead of the crown and etc. And just like how I was saying in the previous episode, guys, we get a sequence of where he actually something dramatic happens where he actually cuts off her head, and obviously we know this is a dream sequence because Rhaenyra lives and Rhaenyra has a bunch of children and the main storyline and X, Y, and Z. But wouldn't it have been some shit though if back in the day, back in season 1, he had actually done that? That's what I was thinking when I saw that. I was like, whoa, like, and the way that they did it too, and I was like, they did that classic like kind of not hokey, but like kind of overdone thing of where her head talks after the head to remove the body, her head starts to talk. And like, I don't know if you guys caught it, but on review on the second watch, you can actually see Daemon sees the blood on his hand from this actual dream sequence, from the blood from the sword. Once he cut it off, the light shows the blood on his hands, and it cuts back. It does it like cut, and it cuts back, and then the blood is actually gone. Like that was actually pretty cool. So I mean, like I've been saying in this like previous episode of this, like this area that he's in, Harrenhal, is fucky. And even the lady, the creepy old, who he refers to as a witch. I don't think she's actually a witch. She might be a witch though. She might be a witch. I don't think she's a witch. She might be a witch though. Yeah, she tells him of like basically that this place is creepy, man. This place there's things happening in this place, and like he needs to be aware of his surroundings. And I mean, like Harrenhal, it does seem to have some kind of like almost weird kind of magical properties if you want to think about it. But again, I feel like this is one of the, I said this before in the previous episode, I feel like this is one of the areas that were then we visited in season 1, and we didn't really get to, I don't know, we didn't really see all of this, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's where they were. But anyway, Daemon snaps out of it, and they wake him up, and they basically tell him this is one of the old guy presents him to tell him that this is one of the person's grandsons. Apparently, we find out of one of the families that he's trying to raise an army for, because he hasn't really been. Remember, guys, that's the whole fucking reason that he's there. He's in Harrenhal to raise an army. But apparently, that the little boy that was there, the representative for his grandfather, couldn't necessarily help him out at all. So he essentially fucks off. So there were some somewhat significant things in this episode, but for the most part, it was slow, definitely wrapping up towards like the big finale where a lot of things happen. Something of note though that does happen for sure is like we get to catch up with Sir Christian Cole, and this motherfucker is also we gotta remember in between this time too, Rhaenyra, before we get to Christian Cole, Rhaenyra she's away right now, so the main black crew and the main leader of this crew is just Rhaenyra. She's not really around, and so she's traveling between King's Landing and Dragonstone. So for this though, getting back to Cole, that motherfucker, we catch up with him, and this motherfucker is getting an army. Yo, his numbers are increasing, and it's evident. We see that when we cut to him, and he has conquered a few castles now, and he's gathering up some mofos to raid and be savage. He's getting ready to fuck some shit up. And we see that, with one of the leaders that I think he's captured, and I think it was just to basically show that there's no mercy in this. And this, like I said, like from long ago, even before Rhaenyra was still trying to vouch for peace, the war had already begun, and these people are serious in what they're doing. They're planning an army to go ahead and take back Dragonstone, take back and defeat Rhaenyra. And in that such, he kills one of the generals or leaders in a savage way. You know what that kind of reminded me of? That did kind of remind me of like season 1. I don't think it was season finale of season 1, but like towards maybe the season finale. I'm not too sure. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But it was when Ned Stark had died in Game of Thrones, and that whole sequence started reminding me of that. And in reminding me of that, I feel like that kind of does foreshadow Christian Cole's gonna fucking get it. Cole gonna fucking get it. I know that. I feel like, he's such a psycho, and I mean, like he would deserve every bit of it. And honestly, in this episode, I think he got maybe like a little taste of it, but he didn't really get everything. I think that was necessarily coming to him, honestly. But I think that in itself, I kind of felt that like foreshadowing bit of like how he said like, oh, you'll get it back to you in time. The guy that was about to get his head cut off, he'll meet your death soon. I think he's gonna definitely. It's gonna be a very cathartic death when we eventually get to Sir Christian Cole. Yeah. But anyway, something also we need to talk about in this episode for sure is the whole dynamic. We need to talk about the Aemon in the room now. The whole point of this, like, conflict, weirdness, contingence? Is that the word? The whole point of this beef, right? This conflict, sure, between Aegon and Aemon, his brother. Right, it's to basically show. I'm pretty sure from the perspective of George R. R. Martin and the whole perspective of monarchy, really, is that when you have people, a royal family, we've seen the messiness of it, but I think it's basically to show the complications that come along with the greediness of power when it comes to the royal family, because we see in this the actual conflict come to light between these two brothers, and it's always been contention. It's always been a issue of contention, or a feeling of contention between Aemon and Aegon. Even back when Viserys had first died, and Aegon didn't really want the throne, but Aemon did. And Aemon felt that he should be a leader of men, and lead and be king. He seems more fit for the role. He seems like the stronger brother. He seems like the one who actually wanted it in the first place. And I think that it's supposed to be a actual like younger contrast to show that conflict of brother, just like how we saw with Viserys and Daemon actually back in season 1. We kind of see this now with Aegon and Aemon, and they are having tiffs back and forth within the council meeting. And if you saw that in this episode, they're having tiffs back and forth in the meeting, and I thought it was so funny. And it's like blatant who the better probably king necessarily would be, because but it's also like a very like disrespectful in a way that Sir Christian Cole has been setting fucking messages, ravens, to this Sephiroth looking motherfucker, Aemon. God, he does look like Sephiroth, doesn't he? One-eared angel motherfucker. Anyway, so he's been sending ravens to him, but he's not been necessarily communicating with the king. And I mean, it just further shows more disrespect towards the king. And you even see it in the council's like reaction, I think, when he actually tells him that, oh, Cole has been in communications with me, not necessarily with you. Everybody kind of looks at him like, well, what the fuck are we have you here for? He's just basically a puppet king, right? So I mean, I feel as though like I feel as though like definitely, well, actually no, we saw it in this episode. It came to a head where like I think the ambition of Aemon, we actually got to see that definitely a little bit more than it actually came out in physical like violence. But again, we'll get towards, we'll talk about that more once we get towards the end of the episode, for sure. What else is in this episode? Yeah, so we got to see more like fuckery within the mind fuckery trippiness of like witch but not witch stuff within Harrenhal. Maybe you guys caught that conversation that Damon had with this girl who I'm calling it now. He's gonna fuck this girl. He's gonna fuck this witch. He's just gonna. I mean, she's pretty good looking. I'm not gonna lie. She's probably gonna fuck this witch. I'm just calling that because it's this back and forth that they have of like where he's interested, but he's also kind of like feels almost somewhat like intimidated of her. And she's like giving him potions to like drink. You know what I mean? Like where he's like losing time. I mean, shit. You then like intrigued with this girl to some degree, taking her drugs. I mean, like she's basically your girlfriend now, right? I don't know. I'm calling it now. That they're gonna fuck because like I see some kind of chemistry brewing between these two, even though this motherfucker's married. So he takes a sip of drink, and it obviously it fucked him up good because he woke up in the middle of the night and he was talking to her, and this wasn't clearly a dream. And then in the next couple of scenes, we see him sitting down at this table having a conversation or a meeting with this guy. So that shit must have been strong. That was that good shit. That was that good shit. Oh fuck. Yeah, I mean, like the adventures with Damon and Harrenhal, this thing. I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, they're using it as a B plot for the main storyline. Maybe even maybe like a C plot by now because we have things happening with the blacks, the green, and then this would be like a C plot right now. But because Damon's doing his own thing, Damon be Damon, and he be doing his own thing. But yeah. Oh, sorry about that. We get to see him. He's trying. It seems like he's trying, but again, these sequences and these little mini Damon adventures haven't really told us what side he's on. Is he for him or is he for Rhaenyra? Is he for himself or like what is he, team player still? And like I talk about it like in the last episode, he's just the Vegeta of the group. Like we don't know what's going on. Anyway, yeah. So it's this complacentness. Also, we switch back to the King and the Greens storyline, and this place of like contention and this complacency that actually I thought it was actually significant to point out. Like Aegon, the King, goes to his mom, Alicent, to talk to him about how he feels. Basically, he's explaining to her, trying to communicate with her, like he basically feels used to this, and he feels like a puppet king. He feels like he's doing nothing, and like they don't really regard or listen to any of his thoughts and opinions. And here's the thing: how do you know? How you know how a family's fucked up from the ground, from the bottom up? Remember in the last episode when King Viserys was like, when Alicent was like, I've sinned, Father. I've sinned, Father, and I wish to be repented. And please hear my sins. And I know I'm leaning on you as a rock. And Otto Hightower is just like, I do not wish to hear it. I do not wish to hear it. Oh my God! Like, if you do, it starts from the bottom up. Like, honestly, like I said, like if you're priest ground level, if you were taught that this is how you treat children and your kids and responding in a very cold and harsh manner, of course, again, you're gonna treat your kids in this way. Said the last episode too, but like we see it more evidently. So instead of like trying to nurture him and be like, okay, yes, you are the king, also get this knowledge and wisdom from the other people. You haven't been doing this as long as we have. He says this, she says this, but she also says it in kind of like a demeaning tone and telling him and agreeing with him that yes, agreeing with the council essentially, like yes, you shouldn't be doing anything, you should be a public king, but like also, I mean, she should be, you know, kind of backing him up a little bit to like not get discouraged, hang in there, understand we do these things for a purpose, and try to learn from while you're not taking a more active role. It's just the way that you go about doing things, right? You don't have to be an asshole. She was an asshole to him. And like I said, everything is connected, right? I mean, cause and effect, realistically. I mean, and it trickles down, like I say, from the top or from the base, however you want to put it down. Because Otto Hightower is a son of a bitch and is a mess. His daughter is a son of a bitch and is a mess. And so her son gonna be a son of a bitch and a mess. You know what I'm saying? Man, fuck. You gotta watch how you raise your kids. That's the story. That's the moral of the story. You gotta watch how you raise your kids, and you gotta also, I think, seriously, like look at yourself and be like, I think that's what this is trying to teach us. Like, you gotta look at yourself and be like, you know what? Am I passing some fucked up things onto my kid? And maybe we should try to avoid that. And then realistically, maybe there is no, and like I'm not saying that like whoever's listening out there who has kids, like there's a perfect remedy to actually raising a child, because realistically they might still have flaws, and that's what we are, a flawed being. But like, it's not our duty or your duty as a parent, I should say, to embark or put your negativity or your baggage onto your fucking kids. Anyway, maybe it's right there for me. I don't know. Moving on with the episode. So, hey, Rhaenyra's back. Rhaenyra's back in the kingdom. She's back from King's Landing, and she's taking more control of the council. She's taking back the reins of the council, and she's getting an update as to basically what's been happening from the perspective of Cole and his army advancing onto another territory to amass more people for this army. And after now, I think she has her frame of mind has changed after talking to Alicent. Alicent is like, bloodshed then. And she's like, yeah. And she's like, yeah, bloodshed then. And she's like, to war then. Yeah. And Alicent's like, to war. So after, I think all of the Hail Marys, the last saving grace to like stop this, it's already happening. Rhaenyra is just a little late to the game, and now that she's all in, she's kind of the line that she says, like a lot of people have mistaken my patience and my kindness for weakness. And man, I resonate with that a lot, because like as a person who's trying to like succeed and get somewhere in life and actually make something and do something, and real professionals understand that, honestly. Like, it's really, really hard to go show constraint and restraint, but people mistake this for kindness, and then when it's time to fucking bounce and go, that's when it's time to fucking bounce and go. And I think this is that moment where she decides to like, yeah, we should answer in kind with the dragon, because even her son was kind of like, let's send a dragon, let's send someone up there, let's help to defend this castle from being taken any longer, and show that we will fight back. We are going to basically essentially do something. And unfortunately, it is Rhaenys that catches the blunt of this, and catches the blunt of this fucking thing, which is sad, not gonna lie. Because we know basically what happened. We're gonna get to that. We're gonna talk all about that in a couple of minutes. But they send Rhaenys out there because her argument was that Belize is her biggest and most fearsome dragon, which I disagree with, because they probably should have said that either for last or to hold as a stronghold, similar to how the Greens were saying that Vhagar the biggest dragon on the land, Vega, was holding on, which should stay back and hold their position in this as well. Because your position and your where you're standing and your comfortability in terms of where you are in position, that's how wars essentially, if you think about it in tactical standpoint, you have to be smart about it. You just can't go and, because she wanted to go and fly off and fight these motherfuckers herself, and her son was like, dude, no, you can't do that. If you do that, we're all fucked. Like, also, when he said that though, like when he denied his mom from going, I felt like a part of him was kind of like, yo, you can't die and go do that and leave me here with all this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I inherit the Iron Throne from you. Then it would be kind of like basically up to me. You cannot go. And then like, I think a part of that was kind of, I sensed that, right? And let me know what you guys think in the comments too. I kind of sensed that like, he was I think there was a little bit of a hesitancy to put her in harm's way, because, and I think from both of their parts, that's why they were like, when she was like, I'll go, he was like, no. And then when he was like, I'll go, and she was like, no, because of what happened to Lucerius. I strongly feel that, because if, they all have is each other left. And they gotta have the other kids. They have other kids or whatever it is. But I mean, like, we don't want to. I think that was the main point. We don't want to destroy this line. The sacred line of what was supposed to be Viserys' last wishes. We don't want to destroy this any further because we then lost Luke, right? So I think I sensed a little bit of fear, and it was a small little thing. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I definitely felt like it was a small little thing, but like definitely true of like, they both were worried about losing one another, and I thought that was a little bit touching. Like, even though it was quick, but it was definitely a thing. And then again, like, Rhaenys offers to go ahead and fight this battle. Something that we also see like in the next couple of scenes after this is that the story of the Ice and Fire is actually the legend that we heard back in season 1 is actually passed on to Jace, and it's kind of a touching kind of thing, because it almost symbolizes like kind of a generational story going from one generation to the next. And I don't know the books and how this goes. I know a little bit of a spoiler alert, guys. We want to skip ahead maybe like a minute. Go ahead and skip ahead for a minute. But I know that from Game of Thrones, this is kind of a spoiler, kind of not. I know that from Game of Thrones, Rhaenyra is supposed to die, and one of the family members kills her. I don't know how this happens, but I do know it happens because Joffrey actually says this in a clip. He's like, "Want to see where the last of the Targaryens are basically buried?" And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah. Wait a minute. One of the last of the Targaryens is buried. It's Rhaenyra Targaryen." And I was like, "She died." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh shit, yeah." So she does die. We gotta remember this is a prequel too, guys. But yeah, I mean, like, she does die. We don't know how it happens, but to see that story passed down to Chase, and like the fact that he heard it, and that was a big thing, actually. If you think about it, that was the big. This like, oh, this is how the story got progressed on, and how other people learned about it and understood, kind of understood it to some degree, as to what would essentially happen. So we're getting more towards the climactic finale of this episode, and these motherfuckers are gearing up for war. And so Christian Cole has his army, and Ian is there from Shameless, and they are marching on this fucking fucking castle, and they're doing normal medieval century things where they're fighting with swords, they're clashing. It's weird because like for like 5 minutes or 5 to 2 minutes, it felt like a normal episode of like Game of Thrones when they started fighting these dudes, and it was like before we started. I meant to say before we started introducing all of the dragons or whatever it is, it looked like it was going to be a normal fucking fight, like the Battle of the Bastards. If you've seen Game of Thrones, or a lot of Bastards, or any of the other kind of fights, big wars that they basically have, it looked like there was going to be a normal fight. These fucking arrows flying in the air, they trying to advance on this castle. It felt like that, and then we get our first fucking dragon fight, my dudes. Oh my God. And it's something. It's definitely something. Rhaenys fucking is first on the scene. She's first on the fucking field, throwing fireballs and flaming. You actually get to see the insignificance of what the fucking people are doing when compared to dragon riders. When we have dragons in the play. And she's burning the lines and she's protecting this castle. But oh no, in the distance, they send a signal off, Sir Christian Cole and his men, where we have Vega is laying in wait along with Aemon. So this is the actual plan to siege the castle first, wait for the dragons to come up, and then have Aemon basically attack this Sephiroth looking one-winged angel motherfucker. Attack any dragons or anyone that comes in response. So sorry, but I guess he was supposed to flank them after their initial protection, but the king fucking comes out of nowhere. The King Aegon comes out of fucking nowhere because he's fed up and he wants to be involved and he wants to do something of significance, and he decides to challenge Rhaenys' dragon, Baelise. I don't know what Aegon's dragon is called, by the way. Sunfire. That's what it was. Yeah, Sunfire. Something actually of note though, when he decides to go off and fight and be a part of this whole big battle, then we're at the climax right now, but something of significance OnReview wanted to show you guys is that if you go back and you take a look at the glass that he was playing with before he makes that big decision to go off and fight with that battle, a movie trick that they do is a lot of the glass and the things that they make in a lot of glass, the things that they make props and sets are made out of sugar. Right, so they make these crystalline structures with like sugar-like glass. I don't know if you guys knew that. That's kind of like a movie trick, and it's weird. You can kind of see the crystalline sugar almost like kind of melting with the floor. In that one scene when he kind of like walks away, you can see within the shards of the glass, you can tell like it's somewhat sugar on the ground that it's made out of. And I thought that was actually kind of cool. It's actually probably like an error. It's probably not supposed to get that close, but I thought that was kind of cool. But anyway, getting back to this battle. So fucking Aegon the second of his name, Aegon second of his name is here, because everyone's English in the show, is here now, and he is fucking on the, like I said, we get our first fucking dragon fight. Baelise is fighting Sunfire, dude. And because for whatever reason he feels like he needs to be this fucking hero, or he needs to actually participate and do something of significance and be just he feels like he needs to do something when he's just really in reality he's fucking with the sauce, man. He's fucking with the plan. He's coming up the works. Like man. But you know what? This is actually good thing, bad thing, because like this is an opportunity. When he first showed up, I was like, yo, if Rhaenys could just like murder this little bitch, like if Rhaenys could just like somehow murder him, like I think this is what I was thinking when I was watching it. Everything would kind of, I don't know if everything would be better, but like everything, that would definitely be a significant blow to them. You can take it down, and for the first little bit, the Sunfire goes down like a little bit. And we get in the experience of this. Actually, I really wanted to talk about the experience of our first dragon fight in this show, being called House of the Dragon, right? Was something I didn't expect. Let me know what you guys think in the comments too. I didn't expect the fights to really go down this way. I didn't expect it to be so. I mean, like obviously it's a dragon and CGI in the background or whatever it is, but I was expecting more. I guess a little bit more dragon trickery, dragon tricks. I can't explain it like exactly, but I thought like, you know why I probably thought that way? If you guys ever seen the movies How to Train Your Dragon, all those tricks that they do, etc. I guess like my mind was kind of like waiting for like, oh, the dragon fights are kind of gonna be like incorporating some of that. And it's like, no, these like CGI dragons, and it's a little like more raw, but it's like it's still entertaining. But I just like in my mind, I don't know why I thought this was like I was watching, I was like, I don't know why I thought this would be different, but like this is different than what I was expecting. So Sunfire basically is getting fucked up by Baelise in this fight, and he's getting all scratched up, and it looks like he's going down. But then Vega, biggest dragon alive, comes, and it seems at first that like Vhagar is there to back up, Aegon, but that is not the case whatsoever. And this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier about Aemon's fucking ambition towards maybe seeking this goddamn throne because he feels like he should be placed on the throne and not his brother Aegon. So Aemon is flying on Vhagar. He's coming towards him, and he says is like, "Oh, thank the gods." This motherfucker was so happy to see him. Oh, thank the gods. And then, but you could see it, and it's weird because like you can see it in his face once he realizes like what's actually going to happen. I feel in him, he probably was thinking like, I see how this is going to go. Probably play down though. And I mean, not rightfully so, but like as anticipated, Aemon goes ahead and shoots his shot quite literally with Vhagar, and he shoots a fireball at him. He's like, Dracarys, and he fucking burns the both of them. Because you gotta remember, like, at this point, Rhaenys dragon, Baelys, was fighting with Sunfire and Sunfire and Aegon, and had them in like they were kind of like ensnared and slurred. So they were together, and the second that Aemon says Dracarys, the fireball goes out. Aegon gets trapped up in this fireball. It's so funny because like Baelys, she saw it coming and she angles her way out of it, so only he gets burned. So Rhaenys is fine, and like the king basically gets flayed, and he falls into like he's down. Sunfire is down into the woods somewhere, and we don't know the fate basically of what's going on with that. But Rhaenys is still fighting in here. And I thought, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When he did that, when Aemon had done this, he threw the fireball at him. He said Dracarys, and he burned. He fell to the ground. That could have been the end of it. I was like, you know what? Maybe, okay, Rhaenys. Because like when she first went off, I was like, oh, I bet you're gonna die. And well, anyway, I thought that she was gonna die, but I was like, okay, you've done enough. I think you've done enough. Vhagar is here. You weren't expecting Vhagar to like basically be there. She's big. He's bigger than you are. We all saw what happened with Lucerys. Vhagar is a problem. So like, I was like, dude, just get out of there. Just leave. Just don't do this. Like, get out of there. Like, it's fine. Like, we did enough. We helped. Like, we showed a strength of force. On the first watch, I was like that. But then on the second watch, I was kind of like, I kind of get why she didn't run now. One, because she ain't no bitch. But two, it wouldn't have really done anything or served them for her to necessarily retreat. What would have done something greater would have actually to be able to take down Vhagar, defend the castle, and then be able to retreat. That would have done something more for the Blacks, even if you know what happens to her inevitably, but like even if she had lost her life within the process, I think that would have done a little bit more for them. But unfortunately, she wasn't able to do that. She wasn't able to take down Vhagar. So Aegon is down because she was like, she could have gotten away. She could have just fucked off. But Vhagar would have just destroyed the castle, or they would have just accumulated more soldiers for this fight. In coming towards attacking Dragonstone. So that's why she stayed and she tried to fight. She fought her hardest, and she fought basically to her very last breath. And Vhagar basically it seems like he has the upper hand to some basically degree. But like Baelys is fighting back. She's getting some pretty good jabs in. And it's a whirlwind of tornado and fire between these two dragons that are these fire-breathing dragons, as they are basically falling towards the ground because they're getting cut up physically while fighting in the air. And it's funny because like if you watch the fight, Vhagar is taken down for a second. Like Baelys is able to actually get him to the ground and he slams toward the ground, and he's walking amongst all the soldiers that are so insignificant, who are getting crushed and trampled upon by his like large fucking footsteps. The good side, the blacks and the green, everybody, this dragon doesn't give a fuck. He is fucking up everybody. He's killing everybody. as he walks upon. That's how fucking huge he is, right? And Felice is able to get away. Felice and Rhaenys are able to get away on this dragon. And she's flying away. And I thought to myself, like, now she could just fly away. And it was all calm and peaceful, just like how it was when Luke got eaten. And I was like, oh fuck, I know what's coming. I think we were all like, oh fuck, we know what's coming. She's not gonna make it out of this, is she? yeah. And then so she's flying along and everything's all peaceful and calm and nice. And then I don't know how they just like with Lucerys, man. Fucking Vhagar comes out of nowhere like the fucking one-winged angel monster that he is, and he fucking bites this bitch on his neck. Oh, he bites he bites Baelish on her neck, and it's like, and dude, when this dragon had the other dragon in his mouth, when Vhagar had Baelish in his mouth, I thought, no in Game of Thrones, and they dragons and the CGI shit. What I straight up thought what was gonna happen was that he was gonna clench his fucking his jaw. The dragon was gonna clench Vhagar was gonna clench his fucking jaw, and his head was gonna get popped off. His head was just gonna pop off and fall to the ground along with Rhaenys. That did not happen, but it looked like it was gonna happen. I wouldn't put it past, House of the Dragon to actually do this. But it didn't happen. Vhagar eventually lets go, and Baelish falls to the ground along with Rhaenys. And she, from what we can tell from this episode, is no longer. And the winner, Vhagar and Aemon. Winner, Aemon and Vhagar. Yeah, they won at the end of the day. So, I mean, I think this episode basically shows, and I think they talked about it a little bit towards the end, is like, both sides carried heavy casualties. And during this, Krishna Cole and his men meant nothing within this. They were nothing. And he actually hits his head and he begins to walk and get up and to try to find, the king in all this. And it kind of is left on a to be continued kind of note, on a somber kind of to be continued kind of note, because it feels like Aegon did die from this, but we don't really know. They didn't really show the body. They showed the body, but they didn't really show the status of the body, whether he was, just knocked out or he actually died or whatever it is. And that's where it is. That's where it's basically left off. Yeah. And that's the end of the episode, guys. Guys, we're just gonna jump right into our next segment of the show. It's called Ash's Favorite Scenes. Oh yeah, scenes. Okay, Ash's favorite scenes. Coming in at number 3, Aegon falls first in the dragon fights. First fight, we have the Greens versus Black. Aegon versus Baelish. Dragon Baelish definitely won that match, and it was good. It was a kind of cool scene because it's the first time you actually got to see how these dragon fights are basically gonna go, and they're gonna be a little bit more raw and not so magical and whimsical like How to Train Your Dragon. But I thought it was just kind of cool because again, like, it was the first dragon fight we saw, and I think it looked cool. And I mean, he wasn't supposed to be out there, but yeah. Coming in at number 2, Aemon challenges the king in the small council. The small council, I mean, this is just, it was just leading up to, it was giving a lot of foreshadowing as to like, hey, maybe we need another king. Maybe they'll start considering another representative for the Green Party, within Aemon for a different kind of king. And maybe we'll get to see that. Coming in at number 1, I thought it was kind of cool. Just like, because we also got to see the dynamics. We also got to see the dynamics because the brother relationship within the royalty family and how they basically perhaps maybe even would even kill one another for the crown. And if this happens, it would definitely prove that. Coming in at number one, we see Rhaenys' death. How she just falls from grace, essentially falls from the sky like that, and the dragon fucking hits the goddamn castle, and everything explodes. It was something to see. That was pretty cool. Yeah. And lastly, guys, just really before we go, we're going to give our on review score. The on review score, going to give this episode a solid 3 out of 5 for this one. It's a 3 out of 5. On review gives season 2, episode 4, 3 out of 5 for House of the Dragon. Yeah, and that's basically the end of that episode, guys. Guys, if you made it all the way and listening to me and listening to my voice and you love these shows, I want to thank you so much for all of our supporters, everything and everyone out there. Guys, don't forget to support us on Patreon. If you love what we do here and you want us to continue this and you want us the show to get better and want our reviews to get better, and you're listening to my advice, don't forget to support me on the Review Cast on Patreon. Go ahead and do that, guys. Also, don't forget to hit us up on all of our socials, the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Twitter. And lastly, guys, don't forget to listen to Anomaly Beats by Ash. If you like lo-fi, kind of anime, kind of style stuff, we're going to have some more new tracks coming out soon. Definitely we should. And we also have the first single of Ashley Anomaly called Boo, along with the upcoming track called Stars on August 4th, 2024. Go ahead and listen to that and check it. And let me know what you guys think, guys, like I said. And lastly, before I go, like I said, like I always say at the end of these, guys, be safe, be kind, be you. Take care.